Tim, welcome to Alive and Well. It's so good to have you with us today.
Oh,
Thanks for being here.
thank you, Michelle. I'm excited for our conversation.
I'm so excited because we talk a decent amount about subconscious beliefs and how much they drive the things that we think and do and say without us really realizing it.
Yeah.
And I have no experience or knowledge about hypnosis or the work that you do. So I am just like, I'm aware to a certain extent, I think, how much these beliefs are driving the way in which I'm being, but I really don't know what to do about
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So I'm just so pumped to have you here.
Well, I'm excited to share. I've been doing this for 36 years, 16,000 sessions. So I've learned a few things. And I'll tell you, when I started out, my plan was not to do anything about hypnosis. I thought that was just clucking like a chicken. I didn't really pay attention to it. I went to school for psychology. I was
Okay.
getting my degrees, but they had a guest speaker come in and teach what he did. And he did hypnosis. And I volunteered. And it was the first time I felt this sense of peace, like within
Wow.
minutes. And I felt this level of confidence that I normally did not have because I had a lot of anxiety growing up, and it was like, what is going on here? And
Yeah.
so as I went and I got certified, and then I started practicing and using it and learning more about it, what I realized is that hypnosis isn't about some magical trance or state that you can get into, and some can do it and some can't. And the hypnotist is going to control you. That's Hollywood loves to make it look like that, but that's not what it is. It's really understanding how we have these experiences in life, and some of them
Mhm.
will empower us, and some of them will make us full of fear.
Yeah.
And these life rules are what we call beliefs, and our core foundational beliefs, the beliefs like who I am, who you are, what kind of world we live in, are ruling our day all the time. They're like filters, and everything we
Mhm.
experience goes through these filters. Now, when most people are talking about their stress, their negative thoughts, their inner critic, what
Yeah.
they're going through, they think that that's the problem. Those thoughts are not the problem. The problem is the
Mhm.
beliefs that are driving those thoughts. So
Mhm.
when we try to change our thinking, we go to therapy, we try different, reading books, we jump on calls with Tony Robbins for a couple days, and then we go right back to what we were doing before, because it's like
Yes.
cutting the top off of weeds. You're not getting to the root of it. And so then people will take medicine because their doctor tells you take this pill. But that's like throwing dirt on top of the weeds most of the time. So I
Yeah.
discovered over all those years that if you go to the root of the issue, you
Mhm.
find the situation in somebody's past where that belief was formed, that's like a parking brake in your brain, and you release it. You pull that weed and you plant a flower. You replace that deep fear of not being good enough with I'm more than enough. I am loved and I can do anything I put my mind to. I am safe, right? And I'm just as worthy as anyone else to feel the way I want or to have what I want to have. It fundamentally changes your life, and you can do it in 30 minutes. It doesn't take
Wow.
5 years, right? You can do it rapidly. And that's what I've been doing for all these years. And so that's what we're here to talk about today.
This is such good news. Like, as I'm listening to you share about it, first of all, I love that your passion is tied to your own personal experience, right? Having experienced anxiety and these different things as a kid and seeing like, whoa, this actually worked for me, and having that
Yeah.
drive so much of
Yeah.
what you're doing now. And I'm sure that there are women listening who can relate to so many of these things. Like a lot of our audience, they've tried talk therapy and they're like, I've been talking about this for 17 years and I haven't noticed any relief, right? Or there's like a shame that they take on because like, well, why does it feel like other people can get past this and I'm not able to
Mm-hmm.
do it? Or what I find is so fascinating is that they've just kind of accepted it as a part of their personality. And there's
Mm-hmm.
not even been an awareness or an inquiry as to like the origin, right? Like there's a reason why this is
Yeah.
coming up. And when we get curious about that, and I guess that's your work, right? Then we can actually do something about it.
Yeah, that last one is really powerful when you just think, well, that's just who I am, or that's just how it is, right? Or, I guess the only luck I have is bad luck. You
Yeah.
know, and when we don't realize that that's a belief, it's not us, then it becomes you. right?
Yeah.
So belief is just an opinion, though. It's just an idea that we've bought into or reinforced. Or a lot of times we have experiences that, well, this happened and this happened, so we justify it. But a lot
Yeah.
of times the way that we're interpreting that situation is because of the belief in the first place. So it's like the belief
Mm.
caused these experiences. The experiences didn't just cause the belief. And but
Yeah.
it doesn't even matter how the belief was formed because you can still upgrade it rapidly. And people just have not been taught how. In fact, I train a lot of therapists, and you would think those would be the people the psychologists would know. They
Yeah.
don't seem to know either. They're doing the
Oh my
long
gosh.
route with the cognitive behavioral therapy, which is like positive thinking on steroids, or
Yep.
like you said, still talking about it. And I originally wanted to be a psychoanalyst. So I just sit there
Wow.
with you for 30 years, while you tell me about your mom and I go, tell me more. Right.
Right.
and, and I realize I don't have the patience for that. Not when we can go and we can resolve and heal and forgive and release, in minutes.
Okay.
And it doesn't even matter what your personality's like. It doesn't matter what the issue is. It seems to work for just about everything. Nothing's 100%, but I've had so many clients, so many sessions, and it just seems to work for just about everything.
Incredible. Okay, so let's kind of get into it.
Yeah.
Where do we start? Like, should we kind of talk about maybe some of the most common beliefs that you see driving a lot of struggle or pain or misery for people, and then
Yeah.
kind of work our way through one of them?
Sure.
Okay.
So people are usually calling me up in the beginning, 30 years ago. I've been in practice for 30 years now. I started in 1995. And people are calling up when you're a hypnotist because they want to stop smoking and lose weight. So I did a
Okay.
lot of that. Helped so many people stop smoking who said, I can't stop. I have emphysema and I still can't stop. I have stage 4 lung cancer and I still can't stop smoking 2 packs a day. And then in 30
Wow.
minutes, they're not smoking anymore, which I thought was incredible. How does that even happen? Because
Right?
being trained as a psychotherapist, I was taught while going to school that addictions take years to break, and there's lots of relapse, and I'm watching things happen in 20 minutes, and I'm like, well, wait a second here. So I was very
Whoa.
skeptical of everything. So I would have this like prove it attitude, which I think made me good at what I do because
I
I'm like,
served
well,
you
you say
well.
this works, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it and do it and do it, and find the piece of it that works, and then keep doing that until I find all the pieces.
Yeah.
So weight loss, for example, Kathleen comes into my office, and she's almost 300 pounds. She's been trying to lose weight. She's in her 50s. She's been trying to lose weight her whole life. And she's tried every diet. She could write her own book on weight
Wow.
loss. And I'm like, Kathleen, if I hypnotize you and tell you to eat more salads, you're just going to laugh because you know what to do. You just can't get yourself to do it. And she
Right.
said, well, here's the deal. She says, I can't lose weight. I have tried. It doesn't work. So can you hypnotize me to be a happy fat person?
Wow.
And then she started crying. So then, of course, I
Mm.
knew that's not what she really wanted. She just
Yeah.
didn't think that it was possible to get what she really wanted. So I said, that's not really what you want. You've got these beliefs in your mind that are keeping you stuck. And so we went through a process, and I can explain how we did it. But we went
Yeah.
through this process, and we kind of went back to where that belief originally was formed, that she's not enough, right? That
Okay.
somehow she's not good enough, because that's the core belief that we have, that like all of us have, is that I'm not good enough, and because I'm not enough, I won't be loved. And then that's a horrible thought, and then all our coping mechanisms
Right.
and issues, manifest as a result. So she went back to a time when she was a little girl, and she didn't have a good relationship with her dad. And so her dad accidentally made her feel like she wasn't worthy of being taken care of.
And
And
are
so
you
every
leading
time,
her through this discovery, just asking her questions about her childhood, or like how does that process work?
so
Like,
excellent question. I usually say when you start to feel stuck, when you start to feel that anxiety or that pressure or that overwhelm, whatever you label it, feel that feeling. So I get them to
okay.
start with the feeling.
So you're getting them in their body, first of all,
Yes.
not even in
Yeah.
their.
Right, because the change
Love
really
that.
happens in here. Even though we're
Yes.
upgrading beliefs, the change happens in your heart. Yeah,
Okay.
not
I
just
want
in your
everyone to
head.
hear that because I say that all the time. I'm like, get out of your head and get into your body.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
because you
good.
can logically understand it, but if you don't feel it, it don't matter. And you
Nope.
feel your feelings in your body. So you are correct.
That's right. Okay. This is
So
so good. All right. Keep
that's
going.
why it's a
Sorry.
mind-body connection. It's both,
Yes.
right? It's
Yes.
both. You got to have the wisdom in your head to recognize that you got to connect with your body. And most people don't do that, Michelle, because it just doesn't feel safe.
Right. Yeah. Or I think yes, 100%. And I'll speak for myself. I didn't even know that was a thing until I
Oh,
started doing this type of work, right? It's like I'm a
yeah.
lawyer by training. I'm
Yeah.
like so comfortable in my head. I
Yeah. Yeah.
love to
Yeah.
make the list and understand why and like, intellectualize everything. And
Yeah.
no one had ever taught me that feelings are actually in my body and they're like sensations that I can
Yeah.
experience. I didn't even know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Wild.
that's why therapists always say awareness is the first step, but it's just the first step.
Mm.
So we start with the body and we start with getting into the feeling, and then we use hypnotic regression and we go back to the event or situation that's most responsible for that feeling, like the very first time they ever felt it, because
Okay.
that's where the belief formed.
Do
You
they
can't
usually remember it? Are they usually able to get to that memory?
immediately, first try,
Wow.
99% of the time. And it shocks a lot of people because they'll go back to stuff that they don't even remember. Some people go back to I'm in the womb, which is like, what? Do you have memory and consciousness, in the womb before you even born?
I believe it.
Yeah. And
That's
well,
wild.
they believe it. And so that's what matters most. Most people are going back to when they were 3, when they were 7, when they were 12. It's almost always before the age of 16,
Okay.
because that's when, these core beliefs are being created in our mind by our brain without our permission, without us even knowing it a
Yeah.
lot of times. And so they go right back to it. Are you inside? You outside? Are you alone? Are you with someone? How old are you? I'm 7. What's going on?
And just
Right?
to be clear, they're under hypnosis when you're doing this.
They are, but that doesn't mean anything,
Okay. What
because
does that
people,
mean?
yeah, hypnosis just means a relaxed, focused state of attention. Everybody
Okay.
goes into hypnosis twice a day. You go right before you fall asleep at night and right before you wake up fully in the morning. You're in a suggestible
Fascinating.
state of mind, which is why people always say don't fall asleep in front of the television, because you don't know what garbage is going to go in there, right?
Yep.
Television commercials are hypnotic suggestions. That's why they play them over and over, repetition. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden people are at the doctor asking for the purple pill, even though they told you if you take it, your eyes will bleed. So, so hypnosis is not some magical spell. It makes it look like it on Hollywood movies, that I'm
Yeah.
going to go sleep and then control you, but that is false. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So, but I thought that that's what the magic was. You get someone deep enough relaxed that they'll just do whatever you suggest if it's in their best interest. And I
Yeah.
found that that was not the case. It would work for a little while, but it would wear off. So if I
Okay.
told Kathleen, just go eat more fruits and veggies, she might do that for a week. And then all of a sudden she's struggling again.
It's back.
Now
Yeah.
it's the cravings. Now it's
Mm.
I can't eat, I can't stop eating. Now it's like, I can't get myself to exercise. Now I was just too stressed out. Now I'm not sleeping enough. All the different symptoms, because we weren't treating the source, that
Yeah.
she never felt, her brain felt like if she started to actually take care of herself, like say she dropped 50 pounds, she would immediately go gain it back unconsciously. She wasn't
Yeah.
trying to sabotage herself like Dr. Phil, you just don't want it bad enough. That's false.
Mm-mm.
That's blaming the victim. That's unconscious beliefs that people aren't aware of. And
Yeah.
so when you upgrade those beliefs, then it changes how you show up in the world. And that's what we did. We upgraded those beliefs. We created forgiveness, because first we upgrade the beliefs in the head, then we
So what does
upgrade the
that look
feelings
like?
in the body. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she has this memory. She's able to go back and have this memory of this encounter, experience, or interaction with her dad.
Yes.
And then what?
And then we're able to take the resources that she didn't have. So say she's 7 years
Mm,
old and she didn't have these resources. So dad's being mean and she doesn't have the intellect to say, and maybe she did, but she didn't have any power, right? When you're a little kid, you don't have much power.
yeah.
But she didn't have the intellect to say, hey, maybe dad's got issues. Maybe dad needs to know how to love himself and be a better communicator. And
Hmm.
instead, he's just ignoring me and neglecting me and making me feel like it's something that I'm not enough. There's something wrong
Yeah.
with me. You know how like parents get divorced and the kids think it's their fault, but it's
Yep.
not.
Yeah.
And so we form these ideas. So we're able to take the new resources, the new awareness, the life experience. She was a very intelligent woman. She had a lot of experience, but she didn't have it when she was 7. And
That's
so
right.
we take the adult part of her and we go back. Sometimes people call that inner child work, right?
Yep.
Because we're going to go back and reparent ourselves, so to speak. And
Right.
so you go back as your adult self and you begin to look at the situation in a different way, where all of a sudden you are having new information. It's almost like we go through a trial with ourselves and we're found guilty based on
Mm.
false evidence. And
Wow.
so we need to have a retrial and we need to bring in the new evidence. And then you need to realize you were innocent the whole time and we need to parole ourselves. And the limiting beliefs are the mental bars that keep us stuck in our mental prisons. I went attorney on the
Yep.
for you.
That's perfect. Got it. I'm tracking.
So, yeah. So so that's what we do. We went and we changed that. And she started to realize that this was her dad's stuff, not her stuff. And she started to
Wow.
realize that, you know what, I am worth loving. I am worth taking care of. I am more than enough. And we started to change the beliefs and the story in her head. And then we reinforced that over a few sessions. And 10 months later, she had lost 154 pounds, which is insane. But
Wow.
that's
Wow.
amazing, right? Because she had been
Yes.
wanting this for so long. And when she finally had permission to do it, she took off. In fact, by the end of it, she was losing too much weight. We had to back her off because she was doing exercise 2 a day. You know, I'm like, you only need to
Whoa.
do it once a day and maybe for half hour, because she was so into it now. She loved it so much. Her world had changed. Her identity of herself had upgraded and she was
Wow.
living her more ideal self. I call her Kathleen 2.0.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
can see that and really reaping all the benefits of seeing herself as worthy, right? Because that was really the root.
it's everything.
Oh my goodness. Um, so for my audience, I think of like high achievers, perfectionists, people pleasers, women who've, hold it all and do all the things for everybody, the people who, have convinced themselves that they don't have any needs.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me a little bit about maybe like a couple of those patterns and if the process is the same or just your thoughts or maybe like even some like people listening that are like, oh, I definitely identify with that, what you would say to them.
So it's the same process, right? We would get into that feeling of you feeling like you have to be Wonder Woman, right? That you've got to be able to do it all and you want to have it all, and that's fine. I
Yeah.
was working with someone who was a very successful realtor and um, very much a high achiever and very
Yep.
driven, and it was awesome. But she was constantly stuck in this battle that when I'm at work, I should be with my daughter. And
Yep.
when I'm with my daughter, I should be at work. So no
Yeah.
matter where she was at, she was never peaceful. She was never happy, and she never felt like she was measuring up.
Yeah.
And it's so common that I call it achiever syndrome. For
Okay.
us
Tell
high
me more. This is
achievers,
fascinating. Yeah.
yeah, it's so common because we get these beliefs that we always need to be somewhere else. We should always be farther along than we are. At this age,
Mhm.
I should have had this and that. Now with social media, it's very easy to compare ourselves to others, and that's the recipe for suffering. And it seems like no matter how hard you work, as soon as you
Mhm.
get to the finish line, someone moves the finish line
Yeah.
and then you never get to it. Or you
Yeah.
get to it and you're like, yeah, well, that was last week. What have I done today? And so it leaves us always unsettled. And then we have
Mhm.
this resentment that builds up and we start getting angry. We start getting frustrated. And if we either start having a lot more fights with our partners or with our
Yeah.
friends, or we stuff it down and we start getting sick. And, the body keeps the score.
Yeah.
The only way through that is you got to upgrade the life rules that are in your subconscious mind. You got to upgrade those beliefs that are causing you to feel like you're not enough where you're at, or that are causing you to be so hard on yourself. Sometimes we're so hard on ourselves, and we'll give a pass to total strangers, but we're
Yes.
so difficult and the bar is so high. And that's a lot of times because of our issues that we have with feeling like we're not enough. So we're chasing approval. We're chasing success. If we
Yeah.
have enough status, if we have enough applause, if we have a nice enough car, if we have the relationship and the family looks perfect, then
Yeah.
maybe we can finally feel like we're enough. And that recipe never works out. It always,
Yeah.
even if you end up with all this stuff, it feels very empty. Or you end up sacrificing stuff that you didn't want to sacrifice. We'll tell ourselves, I'm doing this for the family,
Yeah.
but not exactly. We're
Hmm.
doing it for
Wow.
you first.
Yeah.
Right? We're doing it for our own feelings of worth and security. Sometimes the only way we feel safe is through our work. And so we neglect the stuff that are the people that end up mattering the most because we're trying to feel safe. And when you upgrade that, then you find more balance. You can have it all, but not all at once, usually,
Yeah.
because you can't put 100% here and there and everything else.
Mm-mm.
And you got to be okay with having a sense of peace wherever you're at with whatever you're doing.
Wow. That's so good. Um, it's kind of like the game of, outside in instead of inside out, right? With the things that we're looking for. And I'm curious, just as I'm even hearing you talk about a couple of these different examples, if you had to just give like a rough estimation, how often is the root of what we're experiencing worthiness?
Oh, boy. 99.9% of the time.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that fascinating?
Occasionally I'll have a super achiever or somebody that is just good. They don't have an ounce of self doubt. They have maybe a little bit of narcissistic tendencies,
They overcompensated, and you're like, oh,
a
I
little
see
too,
why.
a little too absorbed,
Oh
self-absorbed,
my
and me
gosh.
focused, and they're counting every single macro, and they've got every minute allocated, and they're usually not married, and they usually don't have kids, and they usually are just they can spend all their time, on them, which is great. That's fine, right? You can
Yeah.
have your life however you want it to be. But most of the time, uh, it comes down to this feeling of not being enough
Yeah.
and not being loved and not feeling worthy.
Yeah.
And that's, every single session, it's like that every single time. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I
really an
do different
epidemic.
work, but I've seen the same thing. So I was just curious. I'm like, man, it just always comes back to worthiness. And I
Yeah.
wonder, even if you see patterns, and I'm just curious about the origin stories, like as people are remembering where this started, is it often with a caregiver? Is it often a similar type of scenario? Like, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Almost always it's mom or dad. In session 2, we do the releasing. When that's where
Okay.
we do the forgiveness part.
Okay. Tell me about that.
So that's how we upgrade the feelings, right? Session 1, we
Okay.
upgrade the beliefs in your head. Session 2, we upgrade the feelings. And so uh, once we upgrade the beliefs, people describe it as like, well, you open this door and now I've got all this stuff that I'm dealing with,
Mm,
unresolved feelings and emotions, guilt, anger, resentment, shame, self-pity, self-righteousness.
yeah.
There's lots of emotions that we've got to work through. So I found a way to be able to
Makes
work
sense.
through them all in a session. Which is
Wow.
kind of wild, but but that's what happened. And so in this session, we bring in for forgiveness, and forgiveness is very misunderstood. People think that when you forgive someone, that it's for that person, but it's not. It's for you. So Wayne Dyer said it best. He said, if you get bit by a snake, a poisonous snake, the bite hurts. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But that's not what paralyzes you. It's the venom that's left inside. And our job is
Mm.
to get the venom out. But people don't get the venom out. We protect our venom because we think our venom is keeping us from
Wow.
getting bit again. So we hold
Mm.
our pain, we hold our anger, we hold our resentment inside because that's the wall that we tell ourselves is going to protect us from getting hurt again. But it's actually what's holding us back. That wall that is protecting you has made you a prisoner.
Wow.
So Buddha said to hold a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. It doesn't
Yeah.
work that way. It only
No.
makes us anxious and sick.
Yeah.
So this process frees you from the emotions, and the way that you do it is you bring someone into a safe place that you need to have a conversation with, and then you
Okay.
have them say anything or whatever it is that you always wish they would have said, even if they would have just owned it one time. And then you work through it and you do this activity that allows you to kind of cut the cord and free yourself from that past so you don't have to drag it along with you anymore. You can move forward with a heart at peace. And
Wow.
people are almost always bringing in mom or dad or mom, dad, brothers, sisters, an aunt, a coach, a pastor,
Hmm.
a neighbor, a teacher, right? They're almost always authority figures, but parents are the number one people that you're going to bring in.
Sure. And this is role playing, or not? Maybe that's not the word for it. But are you actually
It is.
bringing in
It
this
is kind of.
person? Yeah.
No, it's in your mind. It's in
Yeah.
your mind. Yeah, because one, you discover that you don't need other people to do the right thing for you to experience emotional freedom, because
Yeah.
some people just won't. Maybe they're dead. Maybe
Yeah.
they are too unaware. Maybe they're too emotionally wounded where they would never do that. Right? They're not
Hmm. Hmm.
emotionally mature enough to do that. So, and some people would, we just never knew the right questions to ask, or we never had the courage to bring it up or confront or
Right.
handle, how they might respond to it. So it's all about upgrading how you feel about yourself, realizing you have the right to feel good, and then getting a new set of skills that will allow you to start to manifest whatever it is you desire.
Wow. Is there a component of self-forgiveness ever in that process?
Yes. In fact, a lot of people bring themselves in that room, and they have the conversation, and then they have the forgiveness with themselves.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's very hard to forgive others if you don't forgive yourself.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Well,
give
I
what
would
you don't
imagine so.
have.
Yeah.
And forgiveness, again, people think, well, if I forgive, I'm going to get hurt again. Or if I forgive, it means that what happened was okay, or someone's getting off the hook. And none of that is the
Mm-mm.
case.
No.
So it's just a way of keeping the wisdom, because you emotionally earned the wisdom. You just don't have to
Mm.
be in pain anymore. You don't have to feel
Yeah.
pain for something that happened 20 years ago.
Wow. Yep. Just releasing the venom, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So we have the awareness. We do the top part, and then we get into the body and deal with the emotions and everything that's coming up with forgiveness. And
Yes.
then what?
So then the third step is called the shifting, right? And that's where we're
Okay.
shifting into you 2.0, right? Because
Okay.
every session I'm giving you a new tool, a new strategy, a new way to breathe, a new type of questions to ask yourself, a new way of
And are those
imagining.
the tools that you're giving in those moments? Are those for like when they catch themselves falling into their previous pattern or way of thinking?
No, yes, you can use it that way, but actually you want to use these tools all the time. So it
Okay.
becomes a habit, so that it keeps you from stepping in a lot of those potholes or landmines, or slipping back. And because I always wanted to learn, how do you protect people from relapsing,
Yeah. I guess
going
that's kind
back.
of where my brain was going. Yeah.
And this is how you do it, right?
Okay.
So in session one, you do the power breathing, where you breathe through your nose, down to your belly, slowly exhale. When most people are stressed out, they're mouth breathing, they're staring at the ground. They fire off the fight or flight response on accident. They think they're
Yeah.
just having anxiety. They don't realize it's how they're breathing, how they're holding their,
Right.
their physiology, their body. So
Yeah.
we show them how to activate the relaxation response by looking up and breathing through your nose. And then in session two, we'll teach them how to use power questions. The quality of your life is being determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself all day long. So
Hmm.
most people are not paying attention to the questions. They're like, why does this always happen to me? And what's wrong with me? And what if this goes bad? And what if that goes wrong? And whose fault is this? And how come the only luck I have is bad luck?
Hmm.
Those questions force your brain to give you lousy answers. Right? Your
Okay.
brain works kind of like a GPS. If you tell it, if you're like, uh, I don't, why do I always end up at the post office? It's going to say getting directions to the post office.
Yep. It's going to
So
take you where you're telling it to go.
that's right. So you got to ask
Yeah.
better questions, right? Take
Okay.
me to the movies. And
Yeah.
so you would ask power questions. That's what I call them. And power questions would be like, well, what do I want to have happen? How do I want this to go? How do I want to feel right now? And what's one way I could feel that way that would leave me feeling proud of myself afterwards?
Wow.
Or how can
Yeah.
I make this more fun? Or who can I lean on for support? Or what resources do I have? Right? What
Yeah.
am I grateful for today? So there's a lot of power questions. And when you combine the power breathing with the power questions, it helps you become focused. Instead of your energy going out like a floodlight, your
Yeah.
energy is focused and locked in. And a single beam of light can cut through steel. You can cut through any obstacle in your path if you learn how to get calm and stay focused and use the power of your brain. Your brain is the ultimate chat GBT. So people
Yes.
just don't know how to prompt it the same way that most people don't know how to
Same
prompt
problem, right?
the AI. Right.
Yeah. Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. So then you get to session 3 and you start bringing in these new tools. Plus, they've had a huge upgrade in their experiences. So if they're really high pressured and put a lot of pressure on themselves, and they're always charging forward, and they're not sleeping, and they're trying to do it all, and they're trying to be a perfectionist. It has to be perfect, because what happens if it isn't? Well, then
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden it falls apart. And if it's not perfect, that means that I'm not perfect. And if I'm not
Yeah.
perfect, what does that mean? It means that I won't be
Mm.
loved. It means that I'm not safe. Keeps going back to those two. It means that
Yeah.
I'm not worthy. It means that I'm a fraud. It means that people are going
Yeah.
to find out that I'm really an imposter. Right. And so we have all these fears that we don't recognize because we're too busy charging forward with our
Yeah.
positive mindset. But this is not a mindset issue. This is
Mm-mm.
an unconscious beliefs issue, and those are two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so powerful. I know. I think the coaching world or the self-help world or whatever is so oversaturated with mindset work. And then with people that are so frustrated because they're not seeing any progress.
Well,
So
everybody that
different.
fell down and skinned their knee has become a life coach. And so
They've been through it, Tim.
they've been through it, and they have a message to share. And me too. That's what I
Yeah.
did too. And so God bless you. I love it. Go for it. Right. That's
Yeah.
fabulous. But it does saturate the field with a lot of
Yeah.
people that are doing a lot of old school pop psychology techniques that aren't really effective. And they haven't been for a lot of people. And so we
Yeah.
got to upgrade. It's a 21st century. We need 21st century tools. And this one belief away method with these processes is an example of one of those tools. It's
This is
it's like the most
fascinating.
effective approach there is for upgrading unconscious programming.
Wow. Which
So,
is driving everything.
which I have found to be driving everything. Yeah, because it's the root of it. It's the core. It's the foundation that everything else builds on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so little of what we do is actually conscious, right? It's like we're even unaware of how much our subconscious is running everything.
That's been proven. Well, you have a common experience. Like, have you ever driven, like 5 miles down the road on a highway, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, and you don't quite remember driving it? Or I
Yeah,
remember
getting home
I
from work, it used to be like that every day because I was so tired from the day. My brain, like, I would drive home and then sit in my driveway and be like, I have no idea how I got here.
yeah. Well, your subconscious drove you home because it knows the
Yeah.
route, because you've done it so many times. That's what we call automated behaviors, right? You don't have to
Mhm.
concentrate when you're brushing your teeth. Or when we first learned to drive, my very first time I drove my mom's station wagon by myself to the grocery store a mile down the road, I was at 10 and 2. The radio was off, the windows were up, and I was nervous.
Yes.
Okay. And now, people are eating, reading books, watching movies while they're driving, which is a horrible thing. But,
Yep.
but that's, it feels so mindless because
Yeah.
you just have done it so often. And so we want to make sure that, we have these mindless beliefs that are in our mind, and we want to make sure that we're upgrading them so that you can live your best life now, because you're
Yeah.
worthy of it. You deserve it. And you have the ability inside of you already. It's like a lamp that's unplugged. It'll turn the darkest room light. You just got to plug
Yes.
into your source. And this is how one
Yes.
way to do it.
Come on. Come on. Okay. So for people listening who are beyond having their curiosity piqued and they're like, I want to take the next step,
Yeah.
tell everyone how they can continue to learn from you, work with you, I know you have a lot of exciting things going on right now. So tell us a little bit about it.
Well, thank you, Michelle. So there's 3 ways. You can go to my main headquarters is in Indianapolis, Indiana. That's where I was
Okay.
for years, 20 years. And so if you go to Indy, hypnosis.com, you can learn about hypnosis. You can learn about my one belief away method. You can have all kinds of free training there.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is it's not quite out yet. It's hitting theaters this week. It'll be on Apple TV and Amazon Prime. There's a new movie called Zero Limits based on Joe Vitale's work. And there's a few people from The Secret that are in there, and I'm in there, which is an honor. And so that movie will teach you more about how to use the power of your mind to create your life by design. And then we could put a link in the show notes for anybody that's already subscribed to this show or that is a new person that subscribes. Then I've got all my free training that I've put together over decades in one place. It's called Tim's Secret Training Vault. and you can get access to all of it for free. You just click on the link.
Wow, so generous. Cool. Yeah, we'll link all of that in the show notes for you guys. But Tim, thanks so much for being here, for sharing your wisdom. It's to me, it's endlessly fascinating. I'm sure to the people listening too. But I love the way that you make it really practical, and kind of like walked me through it so I could see. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is kind of how what I could expect or how it might work. That just makes it feel more approachable and not like that eighth grade, hypnotist that came to my class in eighth grade and made someone do silly things. So just thank you so much.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thank you. I love the questions. This was great. And I'm so excited that you have this show so that we can spread the word. So thank you, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.